Realtors can only dream of having a $55 million project to sell out until it actually happens. Now, in this video, I'm going to be discussing how I picked up this $55 million project. I'm going to be discussing things I did while I had this project, and I'm going to be discussing things that I would have done differently if I was to have this opportunity again. You're going to want to stick around for what I do differently because if you do the first two correctly, you're going to have yourself a $55 million project to sell out very soon. Now, how did I actually get this project? That's going to be probably the question that's top of mind for every single person watching this video. To answer that, I need to first define what this project was. So essentially, it was 111, I believe 111 units around there. It was a project that was condos that were going to be built in 2 to 5 years. That was the time frame. And it was a project located about 20-30 minutes away from where I lived. I thought that was an amazing opportunity. Now, how I ran into this opportunity is actually listed previously, and I was just doing my due diligence as a realtor, which is step number one. You need to make sure you're on top of all the new development projects in your neighborhood, in your area, and in your community. So I was just being my diligent self, and I was just looking at different projects, seeing which projects I could market on my social media, and then seeing which projects I can also start doing paid ads for. So I'm a high proponent of paid ads if you watch some of my other videos, and I always want to be promoting one project and getting leads for another, like have a lead magnet out there to get more clients. So I was coming at the end of my time with another project, and that project was almost sold out. In terms of like, I wasn't representing the other project, but I would just run ads for projects that were coming up in my community. And then this one had a very low price point for initial like studio units. So I was like, you know what, this might be a good one to go check out. It might be good for advertising. It might bring me in a lot of leads. So I went to the project, and I will say how you represent yourself when you are going to these projects is very critical because I went to this project, obviously like pulled up in my nice car. I had a Corvette Z. I had a Corvette. It's an '06. I don't even know the name of it. Corvette, whatever. It's an '06. I had a cool exhaust on it. It sounded loud, and I had my beautiful girlfriend next to me as well. So, kind of walking into that pre-sale center, I parked right in the front, like first parking stall, and I walked in just with confidence and not arrogant in any way, but just knowing that, hey, you know what? I am a person that could bring value to this project, and I am a person that can sell units here. So why wouldn't you walk with that type of confidence, right? So I was obviously approached by the developer then, and I met the developer at this launch that they were having. It was a new pre-sale, and I was under another marketing company. Ended up meeting the developer, and a big tip if you're going to these projects is developers usually have a large truck. They're usually like these builder type characters, and I always watch out for that. Even whenever I go into projects, even with new realtors, I always say, hey, look, like there's like an F-350 there. That's probably the developers. So you kind of want to match, and this is obviously profiling, but it is what it is. You can hate me in the comments. A lot of the times the developers will have a big truck. So I kind of put two and two together. I saw that guy walking out of the truck, and by no means was I trying to poach them, and by no means was I trying to get to know the developer so I can sell his other projects. But I was just being a decent human being, and he actually approached me and said, hey, what's up? Like, how's it going? Like, what's your name? And then after that is what's important. After I got the information, after I went to the launch, and I made myself I guess I was a personality, some could say, walking into that sales center and just being myself. But after that sales center presentation, I actually liked the project. So I decided to start running ads for it. I made social media content. Prab, my wife, business partner, life, she also made business content around it too. And we were just pushing some content out on social media. And then we started running paid ads. And I ran ads for that project for about 6 months and basically got like 1,000 plus leads. I think the number was 1,087 leads, and it was working really well because I not only did some contracts at that development, but I also did multiple other contracts at different places, whether it even be pre-sale or resale. The key here with this type of marketing is that you want to give people what they want, and then you want to give people what they want and actually give them what they need. Show people what they want and give them what they need is what we say. And if you can do that very effectively, you can bring a lot of people into your sphere and actually point them in the right direction of what is going to be suiting their needs the best. So you want to make sure that you're definitely bringing people into your sphere, but then being that expert realtor and then pushing them to actually purchase what's right for them. But enough of that. I basically did all of this while I just got to know the project. I never knew I was going to even be a part of it, selling it. I was just doing a lot of marketing. Now, that being said, what happened was, I guess something happened between the marketing team and the developer where the old marketing team was no longer going to be marketing the project. That being said, basically I had all these leads, that 1087 or 1000 whatever leads, that still wanted info on this project, and I would stay up to date with them. I would keep touch with them, do text blasts, do email blasts, do everything that you should be doing with your leads, and I was really staying in touch with them. So they would constantly come back to me and say, hey, you know what, that project that I initially came to you for, I now have saved the down payment and I'm ready to go. But because there was a slight lag in the sales process with the marketing company and the developer and all those people, I there was no way for me to actually sell the project. Now, fast forward, the marketing company was no longer representing that development, and basically I had no way to sell units there, but I knew units were available. So what I essentially did was, I knew the tools and resources that we have here in my local area, and I knew how to find registered builders and registered developers. I knew how to find their phone numbers, so I just called this person directly. Real quick, guys, if you're getting value from this video, smash that subscribe button. It motivates the heck out of me so I can make more videos for you and share my experience. Let's get back to the video. Now, before you come at me and say, oh, you shouldn't have contacted the developer, please note that that relationship was already terminated with that previous marketing company, as far as my knowledge goes. And when I was calling the developer, my goal calling that developer was to just sell a unit, not represent them on the selling side. So I wanted to purely represent them on the buying side. So what my intention was with that phone conversation, this was about, I think this is around Halloween time, right? And I remember we were at a coffee shop and I was just like with Prab, and I'm like, man, I just have so many people I need to sell this to. They all want this product, but I just can't get a way of actually selling it. So I was like, you know what, screw it. Let's just call the developer and say, hey, man, let's be honest. I've done years and years of calling people, and I'm not afraid of calling people. This is one key as well. You do not want to be scared of calling people. That is your job as a real estate agent. And if you can't get behind the fact that you need to talk to strangers, you're not going to make it. Like, that's just purely, it is what it is. So anyways, called him. One thing led to another, and using the ideology that we have, using disc personalities and using different selling traits, ended up he wanted to meet me. He recognized me. He remembered me from just my voice, the way I was talking, because I guess I have a very distinct voice or whatever. But I basically told him, hey man, I've been running ads and I have a couple buyers. I just want to sell a couple of units if that's possible. And I want to represent the buyers. So ended up meeting him and then showing him what I'm doing on the marketing side and how our CRM works, how many agents we have under us. Basically just showing him my entire business plan, and it intrigued him to be like, hey man, like, why don't you guys represent this project? So again, one thing led to another, and basically we ended up securing this project. Now, moving forward, let's move into what I actually did when I got the project. I have a couple things written here, so bear with me. Going into the opportunity, I know I needed to manage my expectations, so this was extremely important. First things first, guys, I didn't really know these people and they didn't really know me. So, a lot of the times with these bigger working relationships, you need to realize that there's a lot of moving parts. There's lenders, there's people who are financing it, there's partners, there's silent partners, there's non silent partners. Like, there's a lot that goes on when you're dealing with developers and you're dealing with bigger numbers. 55 million is no joke, right? It's a lot of money. So at the end of the day, I could have chosen to get really excited, maybe buy a Lambo, I mean, it was like a couple $1 million in sellout value commissions I would have made, right? So I could have got really, really excited, but at the end of the day, I knew that I'd never work with these people. These people never work with me. So manage my expectations. I learned this from many, many years of selling. I sold a $30 million project out before. So I learned to really manage my expectations. Now, next is I wanted to make sure I wanted to get a clear moral compass. So with bigger projects as well, a lot of people, the mistake they make when representing projects like this is they lose their moral compass. So they might do things that are a little bit shady, they might do things that are a little bit gray, under the table, whatever it is. I knew that if I was to represent a project like this, I needed to make sure that my morals were a certain way, and I needed to make sure that I was doing everything from paperwork to showing, so representations, everything 100% by the book, because I didn't want anything biting me in the butt later, because I honestly haven't worked with these people before. I don't know how they work. So that was another thing while I did it. Now, the next was that I used this opportunity and the sales center as a place that I could train our 40 something agents we were working with at the time. So, not only did I want to represent the developer and represent the project, but I also had 40 ish agents at the time in our EXP downline. And that's one thing that we do, that's one form of our business. We didn't even have the real estate we did have the real estate marketing consultancy, but I'll talk a little bit more on that later. But we had 40 something agents that we were working with, and I used that as the opportunity to congregate them all and bring them to the sales center, train them on how to sell a pre-sale, show them exactly how we speak to people, what questions we ask. We made a lot of content at that sales center. We brought everybody together. We did a tour drive. Like, we did amazing things while we were there, which I don't regret at all. Like, these things were all amazing. One, for myself, but two, that's the best thing about like doing big things is like you are able to make other people's dreams actually come to fruition. So like people were coming there, people were closing deals, people were happy, people were referring off people. They were taken to other places. Like, because we had we had this project, it was bringing a lot of people to us. Then we were able to have a lot of people fed rather than just feeding myself. So I mean that was first and foremost. I also learned how to run a sales team, like an in-person sales team, because at that point I hadn't done that yet. So that's one of the things that we did. Now we also used it again as a content space. We used it as an authority figure, so it built up our name quite a bit in the industry too. So when folks would ask like, "Hey, well, like, what are you up to? What are you selling?" I'd be like, "Cool, like, well, we're representing this development. It was 111 units. I'm pretty sure that's the number, but yeah, it built a lot of authority." Then we use it as an income producer. So obviously we did deals there, and we made potential commissions there. And then we created a lot of connections. So we would just invite anybody and everybody in terms of realtors to the project to come see it, to promote it, to make videos, to make content. And that honestly was a huge boost to my socials. It was a huge boost to my credibility, my authority figure, and my status delta at the end of the day. If you've watched some of the other videos, status delta is the stature that you come with when you meet people. So that's all the huge things that I did while we had the development. Now, what would I have done differently? I wouldn't have taken on a project when I was trying to pursue a different path, and that different path is what we do now, all with the online business, where we help real estate agents scale their business. So when we started this project, or this opportunity came up, it was a massive shiny object for me personally, and I know Prab as well, because we were so focused on scaling our online business and we were doing really well. Like, we had a lot of traction. We were closing deals, we were referring off deals, we were learning the sport of online businesses. Now, this project came in front of us, huge shiny object, and it was like, oh, we could make a couple mil real quick here. It was really hard to say no to that opportunity, right? So we jumped on it, but we still kind of we put our all into that project, but we didn't put our all into real estate. So what I mean by that is like we put our all into selling that project, but we didn't put our all into creating other opportunities outside of that project from that project. So my biggest regret there and what I do differently is go 2 feet in to whatever opportunity that I'm going to. So if I was to have that shiny object syndrome and go into that type of business where I wanted to become that marketing company and have that marketing company and sell that project, I should have then went 100% into real estate and stopped doing the online stuff, because then I could have just made other opportunities, sold other houses, referred off deals, worked really hard in the real estate sales space, and I could have just made more and more commissions, where any free time I had while I actually did it, I would spend on the online business. So I was kind of stretched between two places, right? So I gave my all to the pre-sale center, but I didn't give my all to real estate because I was also trying to do the online stuff. So honestly, like, if we zoom out, yeah, I should have just stayed the track with the online business and said no to big opportunities like that. And this is my rule now to myself, and I make these videos again for myself as well. But I make these videos to say that, hey, you know what? If it's not like a $5 to $10 million play, it's not worth it anymore, because I know that that's what the online business can easily provide. So the other thing that I would have done differently is, yeah, that's I should have just focused on building a bunch of pre-sale and resale business. So that was like the biggest thing that I learned from this project, was that focus on one thing. Shiny object syndrome can put you back so many years. So there you have it, guys. This is how I got the $55 million project, what I did while I had it, and what I would do differently. Now, all of this is great, guys, but you can't get these $55 million opportunities if you don't have the leads to talk to. Now, I'm going to put a link below where you can book a time to speak with one of our team members, where they can show you how to implement the exact same systems that we used to get projects like this, the $55 million project, the $30 million project, and so much more. We look forward to speaking with you there. And then until next time, I'll see you guys on the next video.